One of my favorite things to use in Desmos is images. So I want to show you how to insert an image into Desmos and a couple really cool things you can do with images. So let's start with this ellipse here that has its major and minor axes both graphed, but I want to label the major axis for my students, and so I'm going to use an image I created to do that. So to insert an image in Desmos, I'm going to left click on an empty line, go to the folder that has the images that I need, pick one, and just drag and drop it right into Desmos. That's all it takes. I could also add an image by left-clicking on Add Item and selecting Image. So now that I have an image in Desmos, I can click and drag on any of the blue dots on the perimeter to resize it. Use one of the corner dots if you want to keep the aspect ratio for your image. Then I can click and drag on the center blue dot to move the image and place it anywhere I want on my graph. By the way, I could also reposition an image by left-clicking on the position coordinates and directly editing those, or resize it by left-clicking on the width and height values and changing those. So I've got a label for my graph and an image in Desmos. So what kinds of things can I do with images? Well, here's one really cool thing. As my ellipse gets translated around and properties change and things move, I notice that my label is fixed and doesn't move with the graph. Well, Desmos actually lets you automatically move your images as you animate a graph. And here's how you do that. I'd like my image to stay just to the right of this vertex point, and its coordinates are h plus a comma k. These are both expressions, and h, a, and k are parameters I'm using for this graph. So I'm going to left click on the position coordinates for my image, and instead of fixed numbers, Desmos lets me use expressions for one or both coordinates. So there's the new x coordinate. I'm going to hit the tab button to get to the y coordinate, change it to k, and now my image is directly on top of that vertex point. So I want to move it to the right just a little bit to make it easier to read, and I'll do that by adding 1 to the x coordinate. And now I've got an image whose position dynamically updates as the ellipse moves around or as its dimensions change. Very cool. And one last thing I want to show you is you can actually control when an image appears and when it disappears. Let me show you what I mean. When this horizontal axis is less than the vertical axis, then this label no longer applies, and I'd like it to disappear. So how do I tell Desmos to do that? Well, for my graph, the A parameter controls the length of the horizontal axis, and the B parameter controls the length of the vertical axis. So I'd like this image to appear only when A is greater than B. So again, I'll left click on the position coordinates, go to the Y coordinate, and I'm going to insert some curly braces in there. And now inside these curly braces, I'm going to tell Desmos the conditions upon which my image should appear. And so I'll type in A greater than B. And now as my ellipse dynamically changes, the label disappears when it doesn't apply, and when A is greater than B, the label reappears. I can even add a second image to label the vertical axis when it is the major axis. Pretty cool. Have fun working with images in Desmos, and thanks for watching.